There we are. Welcome into the Rumbles of Red. Sorry about the another slide. Right when I hit the live button, the microphone decided to stop working. Hit the live button again, and the internet started not to work. But welcome in. Thanks for your patience. If you're following on YouTube, hit the like button if you would. Please interact with us. Be happy to answer any of your questions there. You can also subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. All those subscriptions, all the likes, all the reviews, they help us build our brand with the Rumbles of Red. Got our first like already. Look at that. Loving it. If you want to be a part of the show, email me at therumblesofred@gmail.com. We're still looking for a off-season sponsor. Help us keep going. We got the draft coming up in April. Got some dynasty stuff. Want to talk about it. Got a couple interviews I'd like to do with other fantasy guys in the fantasy football community this offseason. So we got a lot of things on the docket we'd like to do there. Let's go ahead and jump into it, get started. Welcome in. Let me know what you're drinking in the chat. It is Friday night, 9:07 p.m. There's nowhere better to be than right here live on YouTube. Start out with our playoff pick'ems. I'm going to give you my picks. I already know what my picks are. I'm going Packers, Bills, Chiefs, and Saints. Going with the home teams, that kind of scares me a little bit. You got to think one of these road teams are going to pull it off. Bills, Ravens are probably the toss-up, right? That's probably the big toss-up. And Saints, Bucks that's kind of been maybe a 20% of people are kind of going with that upset. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes there. All four home teams for Westoff coming in. Bets from the West, welcome in. Thanks for joining us in the chat. And then with the highest and lowest, I'm going to go to Saints with the highest. The Saints put up 38 points against the Buccaneers mid-season. I think they know how to beat this team. They beat them twice already. And a lot of people will question, can you beat the team 3 times? I say yes. Stats kind of say yes, especially when you're at home. There's a reason the Saints won the first 2 matchups. I think they'll win the third one as well. And then I'm going Rams as the lowest. That's probably going to be a pretty popular pick. They're actually minus 110 on betting websites to be the lowest team of the weekend. I think there's a reason they're the favorite, and they're by a long shot there. So I'm going to go with them this week. I want to thank SM Auto Detailing for sponsoring Reds playoff pick'ems. You can go to SM Auto Detailing for your free quote today. Sam over there at SM Auto Detailing, he does great interior and exterior work on your vehicle. He details them. Again, it's smautodetailing.com. Make sure you tell him Trevor sent you. I got a ranking. I rank my upsets in order of Ravens, Bucks, Browns, Rams. So you're telling me you think the Browns beat the Chiefs before the Rams beat the Packers? Come on now. All right, let's jump in here. We're going to talk divisional round matchups this week. Going to talk some DFS, mostly DFS. We got some betting. We got bets from the West. We got our 6-point teaser again this week. I'm going to give you mostly 2-game slates, so mostly Saturday slate versus Sunday slate. But at the end of this stream, I am going to give you my favorite 4-game slate tournament lineup for DFS. So buckle in, grab another drink if you need to. Let's get into this thing. Los Angeles Rams at the Green Bay Packers. Rams a 19 implied point total versus the Green Bay Packers at 26 implied point total. Packers a 7-point favorite with an over-under of 45.5. I don't even mind that Packers straight up 7 points coming right out of the gate swinging. Take the home team, win a little money first game of the slate. Maybe that gives you a little bit more green to play with as you come down to the Ravens-Bills on a Saturday night. This game's going to be at 3:05. I believe it's on Fox Networking. So get all your chores done tomorrow morning, because after 3 o'clock, you shouldn't be moving off that couch. For the Packers DFS, they're running they've got the highest implied total. Buffalo also has 26 on the Saturday slate. So when you look at Aaron Rodgers, you think you've got the quarterback with the highest point total. Does that correlate? Is that somewhere you want to go? Right now, projected less than 1% ownership. I'm gonna love to have a lineup with Rodgers. It's kind of like the Big Ben stack, right? Nobody really wanted it, but the guys who played it, they won the money. I'm thinking I might need to get at least one lineup in here with Rodgers. I won't play a lot. Most people won't play him a lot. He doesn't have a rushing floor like Lamar and Josh Allen do in the second game. Plus the matchup here, the Rams are the best defense in the league. They're the best against the run. I think they're the third best against the pass. I mean, overall, they're the top defense in the league. So it's going to be hard to invest too much in this Packers offense just simply because of that. I don't think they have a high ceiling. I don't see a 42 points out of them where I think you could see something like that out of Buffalo, potentially even Baltimore. Not a lot of money is going to be invested in Rodgers for me. Aaron Jones, I'm fading Aaron Jones hard on Saturday. 2-game slate. You've got the Packers against the Rams, and I just talked about the Rams defense. They're really good. That interior front four, best in the league, easily, number one against the rush. Like, I'm just fading him. And he's projected 92% ownership. I don't want anything to do with that. He's the highest salaried running back on the slate, which I think that's probably why he's going to be the most owned, because he's the most expensive. People see that. They expect, man, if he's the most expensive, he must be the best. It doesn't always work out that way. Rams, third overall. I apologize. I kept saying first overall. The third overall against the run during the regular season. And for me, Aaron Jones here is just that 92% ownership. That's way too much. If it was down around 50%, I'm probably playing a little bit more of him. I'm not going to do it in a 2-game slate. I'm fading him hard. If I lose my money because Aaron Jones goes off for 3 touchdowns, so be it. I'll eat it, and I'll go home. I'll stay home. Devontae Adams, he's also in that 90 percentile, but this is the chalk that I want out of this game, and I'll eat it. Projected 18.5 fantasy points. That's the most on the Saturday slate for wide receiver. It's over 2 times value. And for me, I think for the listeners, if you're building a DFS lineup, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do you think Jalen Ramsey shuts down Devontae Adams? Jalen Ramsey, one of the best in the game. Do you think that he's going to be able to shut down Devontae Adams? Personally, I'm not scared of that. I don't think that Devontae Adams will get shut down by Jalen Ramsey. DK Metcalf got his last week against Jalen Ramsey still. It was on that broken play. But I think that's one of the best things that Rodgers does, is keeping plays alive. And when he does that, he's looking for his number one, Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is the clear-cut best wide receiver probably definitely in this game, definitely on the Green Bay Packers. And he's the only guy that Rodgers is going to be looking for whenever a play does break down. In the red zone, he loves Devontae Adams in the red zone. Of course, you're going to see Rodgers throw to Sternberger or Tanyan or maybe Jamal Williams in the red zone. But Devontae Adams is the guy. He's clear-cut to me, the chalk that you want. And in here, the comment says Adams and Jones are not on the same level. It's comical. And I completely agree. If you're going to tell me they're both going to be in 90 percentile owned, I want Devontae Adams as the chalk I want. The other question you kind of have to ask yourself here for the Packers, MVS versus Lazard. I think you're only playing one of them. You know, you're not going to play both these guys unless you're really just stacking the Packers. But I don't think that's definitely nothing I'm going to suggest. What flyer do you want? For me, if I'm playing a cash game, so all I'm trying to do is double up, I'd rather take Lazard. I think he's the safer play. Most of what I'm going to talk about today is more GPP stuff, more tournament plays, and I'd rather have MVS. He's that deep shot playmaker for this team. They're going to take a shot 3, 4, 5 times in this game, and it's going to come down to, can MVS make the catch? Right? If you've watched the Packers play any of this year, it's all about whether he catches the ball or not. Because when he catches it, he hits 50, 60-yard bombs. You love it. For tournaments with MVS being around 1% owned, if you can hit one of those, you're doing fine. If you can hit 2 of them, you're going to be in great shape going into the Ravens-Bills game. Getting some more lineups in. I'll get to that comment here in a minute. Robert Tonyan, he's their touchdown machine there in Green Bay. He's had a touchdown 6 of the last 7 games they played. He ended up with 11 touchdowns on the year, which was great, especially for a tight end, especially this year. If you played daily, season long, whatever you played, you know that the tight end sucked this year. Robert Tonyan was kind of the one great thing that came out of tight ends this year. I mean, obviously Travis Kelce was phenomenal once again, but something different was Robert Tonyan. He'll probably be the second most popular tight end on this slate behind Mark Andrews. I was really hoping that Dawson Knox ownership would be higher because he got that touchdown last week. That would then drive Robert Tonyan's ownership down, which I would have liked. But right now where he's sitting at, he's $6,200. So he's right between Andrews and Knox. I think Andrews is at 68. Knox is down at 5,000. And he's at 40% owned. And I just think that's way too high at 6,200. I don't see myself having a lot of shares of Robert Tonyan simply because of how owned he is at that price point. I will probably have, if I do play Rodgers, I'm sure I'll put a lineup together with Rodgers. I'll probably stack him with Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan, get that double stack there. On the other side of the ball, the Rams, Goff, nobody's going to play Jared Goff. So if you're really just wanting to throw your money away, I would say you can play Jared Goff. I think if the Rams are going to pull this game off, if they're going to make the upset happen, it's going to be on the back of Cam Akers and this Rams defense. The Rams have the lowest team implied total. What I say, 19. I just don't see it. Can you see a spot where Jared Goff outscores Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson? I don't see that happening. I don't think there's enough salary savings to worry about something like that. I'm staying away. I don't anticipate most people playing Jared Goff. If Kupp doesn't play, does the Pack win by 10 plus? The perimeter defense is stellar. Yeah, look, I don't trust the Rams really at all. Their defense is fine, but I think Green Bay runs away with this. I think it doesn't really matter if Kupp plays to me. I think Green Bay runs away with this game. Tonyan at 6,200 makes Andrews feel like a steal at 6,800. I would agree with that sentiment. Yeah, I paid $600 more for Mark Andrews, who I think's in a great spot this week. I thought he was in a good spot last week. He was middle of the pack. I think he went 4 for 40. You know that the old cliche with tight ends: 4 for 40, get you 8 points, whatever, get you 6 points in FanDuel. But yeah, I would agree. Mark Andrews, if you're going to pay $6,200 for the tight end, you might as well go to Mark Andrews at $6,800. Cam Akers for the Rams. He's $800 less than Aaron Jones on this slate, and which is one of the reasons why I really don't want anything to do with Aaron Jones, because I can get Cam Akers at 7,000. The Packers, they were middle of the pack run defense this season, and I think the Rams are going to come out and force running the ball. If they get the ball, if I'm coaching the Rams, Sean McVay, I win the toss, I might just want the ball. Give me the ball. I'm going to come out. I'm going to run it 12, 14 times. I'm going to get 3 yards and a blade of grass at a time. And I'm going to try to run 7-8 minutes off this first quarter clock, right? That's how they're going to win the game. If they are going to be able to win the game, they're going to have to establish the run. I think they're going to force Cam Akers. And for me, Cam Akers becomes one of my favorite plays of the weekend once again. He was one of my favorite plays last week. He's one of my favorite plays again this week. Cooper Kupp, it sounds like he is expected to play. I know Dallas just said something about him in the chat here. Last I read, it sounded like he was expected to play, but do be aware he is dealing with a knee injury. But he's also projecting as one of the better wide receivers on this slate, just under 2 times the value. His prices continued to drop pretty well all season, especially about halfway through the season. He just doesn't have any touchdown equity. 3 touchdowns on the year, and he's only had 1 since mid-October. There's no touchdown equity with Cooper Kupp, and that's why his price is just plummeted. And to get a guy like him at $6,100, the targets are there. The yardage is not there. I don't know. I mean, they're projecting around 40%, 45%. I don't foresee myself playing him. In a 2-game slate, you're going to have to get different in one sense, but you're also going to have to hit the best 9 plays. I don't see a scenario where Cooper Kupp ends up as the best plays. Maybe junk time and volume, target volume, right? But I don't know that this is going to happen. And again, the knee injury, I'm probably going to be fading Cooper Kupp pretty hard. The opposite of Cooper Kupp is Bobby Trees, Robert Woods. He's $500 more than Cooper Kupp, but he's the touchdown guy. Gets another touchdown last week. Still a little bit lower on the yardage volume, but if he's scoring those touchdowns, getting you 6 points a piece, you like that. But again, I'm not big on this Packers or this Rams pass offense as the Packers defense 6th against the pass in the regular season. That's pretty good stuff there. I'm going to stay away from the Rams passing game. Look, the Packers, I think they're going to get up big early. There's going to be a lot of garbage time, but it is January. It is Lambeau Field, and I just don't really anticipate Jared Goff being any good in this game. My favorite DFS plays from this game in a Saturday 2-game slate is a skinny stack of Cam Akers and Devontae Adams with the Rams defense to be different. Yes, the Rams defense, because in FanDuel, we're looking for sacks, turnovers. I think they can get to Rodgers maybe 3-4 times, be fine there, and just hope that Rodgers kind of shuts her down around 24, 28 points and doesn't just keep beating the tar out of them. We do have a teaser bet in here as our 6.6 game teaser. We're going to tease Green Bay from -7. We're going to tease them down to -1. Now, before I get to Baltimore, Buffalo, let's catch you up here in the chat. You guys are going crazy tonight. Love it. How about this? I'm gonna catch up here, but I want you guys to tell me what you're drinking on in the chat. I see what you're drinking on, and if I call you out, I'd like you to hit that like button there. Do you trust playoff Lamar? Well, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. I like you, Ben. Me too. I like Ben a lot. Shout out Ben Kellick. Congratulations, man. Ben just got engaged last night. So shout out to him. Hopefully his good luck doesn't turn into good luck on the pick'ems because I'm trying to win that. Congratulations to him and his new fiance. Look, as a newly married man myself, you've got a whirlwind of a life coming up to you. All right, we got Bacardi. Hit that like button, Dallas. Poor Ben. I'm telling you. Poor Ben. Look, we know how that is. Coors Light, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess now I'm giving out free plugs, aren't I? Let's talk about Bills, Ravens. Let's get back into it. Baltimore Ravens, 23.5 implied total at the Buffalo Bills, 26 implied point total. Bills, a 2.5 point favorite with an over-under of 49.5. Let's start with the Bills, the home team, the favorite. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are projecting essentially a 50-50 ownership split. Okay, so take your pick. Which one do you want? I prefer Allen over Lamar, and there's 3 reasons I prefer Allen over Lamar. Josh Allen has better overall core pass rushers. pass catchers, not rushers. Josh Allen has a better overall core of pass catchers. Josh Allen does not have Zach Moss this week, so there's not going to be much of a run game for Buffalo. Josh Allen's ability to pass the ball is much greater than Lamar's at this point in their career. Pendleton and Pepsi. That a baby, Ben. So those are my 3 reasons why I prefer Josh Allen over Lamar. Josh Allen will be my main GPP quarterback this week, $8,800. Projecting around 24 points. Last week, I think he ended up around 31 FanDuel points, if I remember right, somewhere in there. So Devin Singletary is going to be the running back here. And this might be where I get weird again this week. We're looking at a short slate. You can't just come out and run all the big dogs and expect to win any money, right? Because in order to get first place and win other lineups that are exactly like yours, and you're in a contest, you win $1,000, but you split that 5 ways, you're going to feel terrible because you're going to feel like you just had $100 or $1,000 ripped out of you. Okay, so we got to get a little weird. This is a place I wouldn't mind getting weird. Take a stack of Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, and Stephon Diggs. I'm not saying it's going to be unpopular, but I do think that at a QB, RB, wide receiver stack, I think the Ravens side would be a much more popular, right? Lamar, Dobbins, and a Hollywood Brown, because that's a little bit cheaper. Hollywood Brown's a little cheaper. Dobbins is a little bit more, I would say, he's better than Devin Singletary. He's also more popular than Devin Singletary. So I don't know how many people are going to be on Singletary here. I like him because Zach Moss is out. Singletary's the pass catcher anyways. I could see the Bills just saying, the hell with the run game here. Let's just throw the ball 30 times, play some screen passes, maybe you play, do a couple handoffs here and there, little draw play. But I like Singletary here. Just $5,700. That's pretty cheap. Steph Diggs is the reason you like him more. Yeah, his pass catching core, absolutely. Steph Diggs, John Brown, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knott. I mean, I realize it sounds like I'm just reading names, but these guys are good. Cole Beasley. When you look at the Ravens side, you're talking about Hollywood Brown, who can run a fast 40, but can Lamar hit him 50 yards down the field? And then you got Mark Andrews. After that, who do you got? Miles Boykin, good size. He's never shown up. Dez Bryant, he's got to come out of his grave to be able to play. Hashtag analysis. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Lamar be able to run in the snow. Well, we're going to get to Lamar here. But yeah, I think he'll be able to run in the snow. I don't think snow slows him down. Stephon Diggs. Let's talk about Stephon Diggs. It's a small slate. Eat the chalk. I talked about Devontae Adams. He's the chalk I want in Green Bay. I want Stephon Diggs. And really, he's currently being projected to only be around 70% owned, which is actually quite surprising to me. But yeah, it's Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs. You're probably just going to eat it. Dawson Knox. I'm going to talk about him. I'm not going to talk a lot about Cole Beasley, John Brown. Look, I'm going to go back to John Brown. I know he put up a 0 spot last week. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of John Brown. If he's going to be healthy, he's going to play in the game. I want him. I'm going back to him. Cole Beasley is probably the best play, though. I think he's sitting at 5,900. You can get real weird if you want to go deeper. And Gabriel Davis, who 4 for 86, I think was his total last week. Isaiah McKenzie. I was big on Isaiah McKenzie last week. I would not be big on him this week. Definitely would go Gabe Davis over Isaiah McKenzie. But there's a lot of options you can go with Buffalo. But I think Diggs is the best play. I mean, it's obvious, right? He's the best play. He's the hottest wide receiver in the playoffs. Let's talk about his tight end, though, because there's only 3 tight ends really you can play this week. 4 if you count Rams tight ends, but I don't count them. The cheapest one, he's the punt play salary saver at tight end, 5,000. He got the touchdown last week, so this is what I talked about earlier with I thought his percentage would raise because of that touchdown, but they're still only projected. I mean, maybe you go Allen, Singletary, Diggs, Knox, really be different and just expect the Bills to just kind of destroy the Ravens. If that's the route you're going to go, I would love a Dawson Knox play here. I think Mark Andrews ends up being the most points at tight end. He's going to score the most this week. I like Mark Andrews a lot this week. But when I'm taking into account price, ownership, point projections, when I'm looking at the overall idea of tight end this week, Dawson Knox is my favorite tight end play on Saturday. After Diggs, Buffalo's is kind of a mess. Kind of a mess, yeah. But I think you got to get another one in there. I think if you're going to play Josh Allen, you got to get another one. Whether you go Dawson Knox, John Brown, Cole Beasley, you need to double stack Josh Allen. You could triple stack Josh Allen. Look what happened if you triple stack the Steelers last week. You can do it, especially in a 2-game slate. Why not? It's just going to be a matter of which one hits. And did you choose the right one? Thanks, Dallas. Thanks for the best talk. We had basketball practice earlier. Kindergartners, man. All right, let's talk about the Ravens. Lamar, the other half of that 50-50. I saw early in the chat somebody said they like Lamar because of the cash savings. $800 cheaper than Josh Allen. So you will not hear any arguments from me if you say, I think they're the same. Toss them up. They both end up with 25 points. I'd rather have the cheaper guy. 100% understand that. Another somebody else in the chat said, will Lamar be able to run in the snow? Yes. Simple answer, simple question. Expect most of Lamar's damage to come on the ground. Running. The Bills are 20th against the rush. Bills' pass defense is pretty decent. I think they're 8th against the pass, but 20th against the rush. So I could see a lot of Lamar on the ground. I'd like to see what his rushing prop is. I think he smashed last week's rushing prop. I know that. But I think it was around 85, 90, and he hit over 100. J.K. Dobbins, this guy I like a lot this week. He's my second favorite running back on the slate, second to Cam Akers. Right now, they're projecting about 29% ownership, and I'm really kind of hoping that's a little high. I hope that people avoid J.K. Dobbins because of how bad he was last week. Like, they only gave him the ball, I think, 6 or 7 times. It was weird. And I know they were down early, and then you had Lamar's 50-yard touchdown run, so that kind of killed a whole drive. But I don't know. I like J.K. Dobbins again. Buffalo, you beat them by running against them, 20th against the run, like I said earlier. I'm going to target J.K. Dobbins on a Saturday slate. I would target J.K. Dobbins on a 4-game slate. If you're going to play the whole weekend, the main slate, I really like J.K. Dobbins this week. Move to pass catchers. Hollywood out there, he's probably going to be the second most popular stack. If you're just stacking one single stack with Lamar, Hollywood will be the second one to Andrews. I think a lot of people will double stack this with Hollywood and Mark Andrews. You can do that. You're probably not going to see me do it, but you can definitely do that. I wouldn't mind it. Again, you could go all 4 of them, right? You could just go Lamar, Dobbins, Hollywood, and Andrews. I think it hurts your ceiling a little bit. I talked about that on Tuesday, maybe last Friday. Talked about it at some point because we have somebody in our fantasy league that has all Ravens. Well, hell, if the Ravens make the Super Bowl, you've got ×4, but you're lowering your own ceiling. And I know that we talked about that with the Bills, but the reason I like it with the Bills is because Singletary is a pass-catching back. They don't really use J.K. Dobbins as a pass-catching back. They don't really throw to the running backs often. So I don't know if I like it as much this way with the Ravens, but you'll see it. You'll see it out there. People will do it. PFF is giving Dobbins an 8% chance to go north of 100 yards. Well, it's hard to go north of 100 yards if you're only getting 6 options. You know? If you're only getting 6 opportunities, not options, opportunities, it's hard to go over 6. Mark Andrews, he'll be the most popular Lamar stack. He'll be the most popular tight end on Saturday. Like I said earlier, I think he'll be the highest scoring tight end of the day. Look, if you can afford Mark Andrews, go get him. He's going to be the best tight end to play. If you can get him, go get him. It's only sitting around 50% owned. That's not terrible on a 2-game slate. You heard some of these other 90% and 70% that I've talked about. If Andrews sits around 50, 55%, he's worth it. Play him. I think he's in a great spot here. Our teaser play here, we took the Bills from -3.5 to +3.5. So, like I said on my pick'ems, I think the Bills win this game. So if I can get them at a +3.5 and just cover a field goal, even if they lose by a field goal, we're still good there in the teaser. I like that a lot. I own 5 shares of John Brown in Prediction Strike. Shout out Prediction Strike. So I'm with you on the Brownie again this week. Look, I'm not afraid of John Brown. I'll go get him again. All right, let me tell you my favorite Saturday slate lineup. Also, I see Ben and Herbie and the Lou is in here. Got my nice Ballpark Village glass going on tonight. All right, here's my favorite lineup tonight or for Saturday, for tomorrow night. Josh Allen, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins. Talked about J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers already. I'm stacking Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs. I'm going to play Adams and Lazard. I know I told you I'd rather have MVS in a GPP in a tournament play. I like the safety that Lazard brings me. It just feels safer for me, and I really don't want to come out of that first game with a 0 like I did with John Brown last week. Dawson Knox at tight end, Cole Beasley. So I'm triple stacking with Josh Allen. Okay, triple stacking Josh Allen with Diggs, Knox, and Beasley, and then coming back with the Rams defense. It only leaves $100 on the table, which 2-game slate, we don't really like that. I think you really get different by leaving a lot of money on the table, especially in a tournament. I think you got to be okay with that. But for now, I think I'm going to be fine here. If I don't hit that first game, that Akers, Adams, and the Rams defense and Lazard, maybe MVS goes off and I miss there, or Robert Tonyan catches 2 passes, whatever the case may be. I could come off of Beasley. I could come off of Diggs. They're the 2 more owned guys. I could go back to a John Brown. I could go to somebody like Willie Snead, something like that, just to be different. This line here gives me 4 plays in the first game. And, like I said, it gives me plenty of opportunity to change and to late swap for that second game. Oh, man. You guys having a good time in the chat. I love it. Bring on the chat. Maybe we should do Friday nights more often, right? All right, I want to talk a little bit more about my fantasy football league that we have going on. On Tuesday, I talked about I had a big decision this week. Am I going to stick with the Bucs, Ronald Jones, Gronk, Bucs defense, or am I going to pivot? And I read today that Bruce Arians says Leonard Fournette's going to be a starter. Ronald Jones will be a game-time decision. So I don't want anything to do with Ronald Jones. And even if he goes ×2, if he gives me 0 points, it's still going to be 0 points, right? So I don't want anything to do. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot off the Bucs. And now I'm going to stack the Bills and the Saints. So I keep all my Bills stack. I pivot over to the Saints. And you're going to say, why Saints? You can't get ×2 like you can for the Bucs. I understand that, but what I'm doing there is essentially pushing all in on the Bills and the Saints potentially making the Super Bowl. Obviously I don't want that to happen. I want the Chiefs to make it. But for this playoff fantasy league, I'm in on the Bills and Saints potentially making the Super Bowl. And if they do, I've got Bills ×4, Saints ×3. And we'll see how that works out. We'll see if anybody else goes that route. We don't have all the lineups in yet. They'll be locked tomorrow at noon. I want to thank Homefront Realty for sponsoring our fantasy league. Chris, he'll be there for you. He's always there for his clients. He should be your first call when you're ready to buy or sell your new home. Give him a call, 620-212-0221. Homefront Realty LLC, serving all for those that have. Can't wait to watch the Bills lose Sunday. You know what? If they do, they do. It'll be fun. I don't have them losing. I think they'll win. But if it does. Hot take, Godwin or Evans breaks the slate in a loss. Okay, I like that. Actually, the more I've read and heard about this Bucs Saints game, the line, the over-under is actually raising for the total. So I think that maybe it's supposed to be a little higher scoring than what I anticipate anyways. So we'll see. That'll be cool. Bucs wide receiver. Let's get to the Sunday slate. Excuse me. Cleveland, a 24-point implied total at the Kansas City Chiefs. Our beloved Kansas City Chiefs, 34 points implied total. Chiefs are a 10-point home favorite with a total line of 57.5. He's being projected 96% on a Sunday slate. Every single person is going to be playing Patrick Mahomes, which is fine. If you've got the balls to not play Patrick Mahomes on Sunday, go for it. Good luck to you. I like money, so I'm not going to do that. I just don't think that – I don't think you can play a lineup without playing him. You going to play Baker? I guess you could. Maybe a lot of garbage time. You could play old man Breeze or Uncle Tom. I don't know. I think that Patrick Mahomes is just – they've got the highest point implied total, 34 points. You look for him to – no Clyde probably, potentially anyways. He's game time decision. Talk about him in a second. But they just abandon the run if there's no Clyde, and I think that you just got to play. The leverage is not to play Mahomes. The leverage is to play somebody else, right? If everyone is playing Patrick Mahomes at $9,200, the leverage is to play somewhere else and hope someone else at significantly cheaper price can get close to the 28 or 30 points we expect Mahomes to hit. Good, too. Clyde, he hasn't participated most of the in practice still. I don't think he's going to play. So, someone texted me right before I got on the live show and asked me if he was going to play. He's a true game time decision. They said, I saw where Reed said that he just really wanted to give him as much rest as possible leading up to the game. Understand it. I think even if he plays, even if he's active, I could see a situation where we saw, week 13 or 14 or whenever that was when he was active and didn't play at all. And I don't want anything to do with that. So you won't see a lot of Clyde from me this weekend, except for my FFPC play, of course, because I can't change that. But if I saw Clyde practice all week, if I was really trusting that and confident that he was going to play, I would definitely be playing him. He's under 40% owned, but I just can't do that. Not this week. Tyreek Hill, 92%. I think you can get away with fading Hill. If you're going to fade Hill versus Kelsey, I think fading Hill is something you can get away with. There's a lot of other wide receivers on the slate. Matt said it in the chat with the Bucs wide receivers and Godwins and Evans and Antonio Brown. You got Michael Thomas on this slate. You got Higgins and Landry coming back against the Chiefs. And then for the Chiefs, you also have Nicole Hardman. Sammy Watkins is going to be out. I was kind of hoping Sammy Watkins would at least be active, so Nicole Hardman would be lower owned. I pulled projections this morning, and he was at less than 2%. That's going to skyrocket, $5,200. I think everybody will start playing him. He'll probably get up to 25, 30% by Sunday. But I love Nicole Hardman this week. Super cheap. Save a lot of salary. Without your starting running back potentially, without Sammy Watkins, Hardman becomes the number 3 guy. You can see Hardman come out of the backfield a couple times. I think they're going to use him a lot, and I think he's going to be your lock of the day at $5,200. We're not going to forget about Demarcus Robinson. He's out there. You know, the old saying is Robinson backs up Watkins. So I think that you probably should have a little exposure. If you're only shooting one bullet in DFS, you're just going to play one. I think I still like Hardman better, but if you're playing multiple lineups, I think you're going to have to get a little bit of Demarcus Robinson. And then Travis Kelce, of course, he's the guy that definitely you're going to want to stack with Patrick Mahomes. I think if you play Mahomes, Kelce's a must stack, a must lock there. If you decide to pivot off of Patrick Mahomes and play one of these other guys, I think if you make that choice, you pivot off Kelce as well. I think you kind of just from there, if that's your choice, you just soft fade the Chiefs. If you're not going to play Mahomes, soft fade the Chiefs. Maybe you play the Chiefs defense. Maybe you throw a dart at Le'Veon Bell or you just want Tyreek Hill. But if you're not going to play Patrick Mahomes, I think you could not play Travis Kelce as well and really save on that salary and just load up on the Bucs Saints game. That's a possibility. If you're not going to play Mahomes and Kelce, you have to be smashing the Bucs Saints, right? What else is there? I mean, in that situation, you're just going Brady, Kamara, Thomas, Evans, Godwin. I mean, you're just smashing all of them, right? And just hoping they outscore the Chiefs from the first game. My favorite play from the Chiefs is that Mahomes, Hardman, Kelce stack. Hardman's just, I mean, you're saving yourself $4,100 going to Hardman off of Hill. It doesn't take near as much. I like Tyreek Hill. In fact, in a 4-game slate, I think I like him even more because he's going to be a lot less owned because of his salary is so high. But in this 2-game slate, Hardman, Mahomes, and Kelce stack's my favorite Chief stack on Sunday. Going to the Browns, Baker. You'll tell yourself he's going to throw a lot, right? Play a lot of catch up. So maybe you play him because of that. He got there last week because the game script. But let me tell you, the Browns defense put Baker Mayfield in a lot of really great situations. Right? They intercepted Big Ben 3 times. They were in great situations. Baker didn't have to sustain drives last week. And I think that's going to affect him this week. I don't see that happening this week. I don't anticipate Mahomes throwing it three interceptions. I don't anticipate them fumbling into the end zone the first play of the game. Right? Like, I'm not going to be playing Baker Mayfield at all. Most people won't. He's less than 1% owned projection-wise. But if you wanted to play him, you got to tell yourself, he's going to just kind of try to keep throwing to keep up with the Chiefs. And that's why you're going to play him. Chat's getting a little quiet on me here. We'll wind down. Get through the Browns here. Get through this last game. I appreciate everybody keeping up tonight, and following me. Go get yourself a refill. We got about 18 minutes left here. Get yourself a refill. And dig in. Baker could be this week's Big Ben. It would be really hard to disagree with you. You played Big Ben last week. I didn't. So it'd be hard to disagree with you there. I like his pass catchers a little more than I like him, and I'll get to them. Let's get to his running backs first, though. Chubb, He got involved in the passing game last week. They threw 2 screens to him. That was odd, right? Like, that's usually a Kareem Hunt thing. I think he'd be a great bring back with the Chiefs stack for a Sunday-only play. He's just so expensive. So if you're going to play the expensive Chiefs and then you've got the expensive Chubb, that would be difficult because you're going to have to really save salary elsewhere. And the Saints and Bucks are not cheap plays either. So it'll be difficult to play a lineup with Mahomes, Hill, or Mahomes and Kelsey with Chubb. But if you can get it there, if you can make it work, I like Chubb against this Chiefs run defense. I think that's the way the Browns go to try to win this game, is by trying to run the ball there. Hunt is $2,000 cheaper than Chubb. I think game flow, it plays more into Hunt's favorite, right? If the Chiefs come out and just get up 10, 14 points in a hurry, then I think we'll see a lot more Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt involved. Although Kareem Hunt ran 2 touchdowns last week. Again, last week was weird for the Browns. That's about 4 weeks ago. Like, let's not get too into our Chubb, right? Like, let's understand here that it's still the Browns. And I like Kareem Hunt better than Nick Chubb. Hard to stack him outside of Landry. Baker, I would agree. You could stack, if you want to stack Baker, if you want to run with him, you can stack Baker, Landry, Hooper. You could stack Higgins. I actually like Higgins. I think I have him on a 4-game slate team I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Speaking of Landry, he's a guy that I don't really like a lot. The Chiefs they're not the greatest defense, right? But they haven't been terrible against number ones. I think they just scheme around it a lot. It's not necessarily, they don't have a Jalen Ramsey type or, Marcus Peters back in the day, but they scheme pretty well and they get the quarterback pretty quickly to where I feel like it'll be a lot more like Baker trying to scramble and just find whoever he can find. I'm not real high on Landry. 6,900 seems a little high to me. 30%. I mean, if you compare him to a Higgins at 5,500, I just think that I can see both of them getting there. So I'd rather pay for the cheaper Higgins. And then I'd rather pay for like a Godwin or Evans at 7,100 rather than playing Landry at 6,900. Rashard Higgins and even Donovan Peoples-Jones. They're flyers, right? Higgins is sitting around 15% projection ownership. DPJ, less than 1%. DPJ is the ultimate flyer for Sunday. Like, if you're playing Sunday only 2-game slate, he's the ultimate flyer, I think. And we've seen him get it done before. He might get it done again. We'll have to see. Austin Hooper, my favorite pass catcher for the Browns on the Sunday, and really the 4-game slate as well. And if you want to get a little weird and a little different on Sunday, could you play Austin Hooper and Travis Kelce? Travis Kelce is just a wide receiver, right? He's just got a tight end on his name. He's priced like a wide receiver. He catches balls like wide receivers. Like, he puts up numbers as a wide receiver. So you could just play Austin Hooper and Travis Kelce. It'd probably be pretty different. I wouldn't mind it. Our teaser, we got 2 games here with the teaser. We're going to tease the Chiefs from -10 down to -4. Like I said, if somehow I'm going to watch this, and if somehow I can get the Chiefs at -9.5, I'll probably smash it. I think the Chiefs blow them out. You can call it a total homer pick. I don't even care. They're way better than the Browns. The Browns are not a good football team. The other total is 57.5. We're going to tease that up, and we're going to take the under 63.5. Let's go. That's right, Trenton. Let's go. We're going to tease that to under 63.5. That's a lot of points. 63.5 points. So Matt and I, Matt with our bets from the West, we go through this teaser together, and we were talking about it earlier today. We were just talking about if the Chiefs get to 35 points, say they get to 35 points, Under 63.5. I mean, that's the Browns getting to 29 points. I mean, I don't see that happening. I don't see any type of 35 to 30 game. I anticipate this being more probably 35 to 20, somewhere in there. I would like that a little bit more. What's Bell's upside for Sunday? I would say Andy Reid likes to use the running backs in the playoffs. We know it. Anybody who studies the game of football, follows fantasy football, follows playoff football, like Andy Reid likes to use his running back. And it wasn't just because Damian Williams did so great last year. Like, this has just been his thing. That's what he does. I think, don't hold me to it, Alex Smith lovers, but I think that's even what potentially even held Alex Smith back in the day was just this whole like game managing. Let's just hand the ball off. Let's use the running backs. It's obviously a lot different when you have Patrick Mahomes now, but even last year they still went back to the run game. So Le'Veon Bell's in play. If Clyde's going to be out, Le'Veon Bell is in play. I don't think he's a better play than the Browns running backs. I don't think he's a better play than Alvin Kamara. And he's probably – him and Fournette are probably like a coin flip play to me. I'm going to tell you here in a minute, Alvin Kamara is the chalk of Sunday, and he's the lock of the day. Like, you just lock him in there and build your lineups around that. I know he's expensive, but I'd rather play Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt over Le'Veon Bell. I just don't think he's going to get enough. I could see the Chiefs just abandoning the run and just saying the hell with it. We've got Patrick Mahomes. We've got the best in the business. We're going to just ride him out. Do you think the Chiefs have been holding back their offense attack for the year, though, waiting to release the rest of the playbook? I think that they let off the gas in December, yeah. And we were talking about it earlier today. It kind of felt that way last year, too. They kind of started tapering off, and then they come out, and of course they go down to the Texans 28-0 or 28-7, whatever the case was. So they had to come back, but they didn't just come back. They put the pedal to the metal and they kept scoring. And they ended up scoring 42, 45 points in that game. Same thing against the Titans. Once they hit drive, they just kept going and they didn't slow down once they got the lead. They just kept pushing. And I think that's what they're going to do. And I think that's a Patrick Mahomes effect for Andy Reid. It could even be an Eric Bieniemy effect. I'm not 100% sure there, but Andy Reid didn't used to do that, and I think that we're going to see that again. We're going to see the Chiefs just let loose and keep going and not slow down or not taper off or not coast. It's not we got a 10-point lead, sweet, let's ride this baby out. I don't think they do that. I think if Clyde was healthy, they might have done it a little bit more, but without a healthy Clyde, Le'Veon Bell he's not going to be able to carry the ball 25 times. All right, let's hit this last game of the Sunday. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 24.5 implied total at the New Orleans Saints, a 27.5 implied total. Saints a 3-point favorite with an over-under of 52. Playing in the Dome, I think it's a 5:30 start time, our time. Is New Orleans Central Time? Somebody look that up for me. Hit me up in the chat. Is New Orleans Central Time? Either way, it's a later game. It's not the late game like we talked about last week with Tom. And Tom looked fine last week, even in prime time. I want a lot of this game on Sunday. On the Sunday slate, I want as much of this game as I can get. On the 4-game slate, I'm probably going to leave at least 2 players in this game. I might leave 3. I might have a 3-for-3 swap opportunity, but I'll definitely have 2 guys from this game in the 4. Yes, New Orleans and Central Time. So 5. Herbie, I don't think Uncle Tom has the magic to win the game. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility either. So I know there's your cookie cutter answer for you. Let's talk about the players in this game. Breeze is projecting as the second best quarterback on the Sunday slate behind Mahomes at about 2.7% or 2.7 value. I think, we talked about earlier, it's really hard not to play Mahomes. If you don't play Mahomes, I think Breeze would be the play of the day. He's at home in the Dome against a bad Bucs passing defense. The same Bucs defense that gave up 23 points to Taylor Heineke last week. The same Bucs defense who was giving up 38 points to the Saints before. I like Drew Brees in this game. You beat Tampa Bay through the air. Like I said, if you expect that you're not going to play Patrick Mahomes, I would push you to play Drew Brees over Tom Brady or Baker Mayfield. I talked about it just a minute ago. Alvin Kamara, not a lot to say here. $9,000. I'm locking him into every lineup I have. It's going to be hard. If you're not going to be able to play Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, Kamara. Like you're not going to be able to pull that off. So you're going to have to think somewhere else. But do you want Hill? Do you want Kelsey? I talked about it already. There's not a lot of other running back options. You got the Browns offense, our running backs, and you got Fournette in Tampa Bay, and then you got Le'Veon Bell or Clyde, an injured Clyde in Kansas City. I think that's why you have to play Alvin Kamara. Michael Thomas, 7,200. He's projecting as the best value at wide receiver on the Sunday slate. The Bucs, again, that's how you beat them is through the air. I like Michael Thomas. Another week for him to get healthy. He looked okay last week. I mean, this guy doesn't run a lot of deep routes. He's all over the middle, short routes, but he looked okay. And again, he's still pretty cheap. Latavius Murray's he's the leverage play. If you're going to call it a leverage play, you could almost play Murray and Kamara together. I would think, but this week against the Bucs, I don't like Murray as much because of this tough run defense. I mean, the Bucs are legit against the run. For the rest of the guys for New Orleans, Emmanuel Sanders. We saw Deontay Harris show up last week in a big way. But don't be fooled by your eyes and what Deontay Harris did last week. Traquan Smith actually could be activated from the IR before Sunday's game. And if that happens, Harris and all that playing time he had last week goes by the wayside. Just be aware of it. I'll put Deontay Harris. Deontay Harris about $500 more, I think, than Traquan Smith. I would put him in a lineup and then flex down to that 4,800 Traquan Smith. Look, if Traquan Smith is active, I like him. $4,800, it's super cheap against this bad Bucs defense. I already told you at the top of the hour that I was going to take the Saints for the highest scoring team on the day or on the round. So if that happens, other wide receivers are going to get something, and I like Traquan Smith. Jared Cook's their tight end here. Look, if you're looking if you go with Jared Cook, you're just hoping for a touchdown. He's not the high volume guy that Kelsey is, or even Austin Hooper is. He's a touchdown, and that's it. But you won't find me playing Jared Cook over Travis Kelsey or Austin Hooper. Even if I want to play a Saints onslaught stack, I'll go Breeze, Kamara, Thomas, Traquan Smith, or something that matter. Like I don't want anything to do with Jared Cook. On the Bucs side of things, Brady is actually the other, in percentage wise, he's pushing 4%. So he's actually in this sense a lot more owned than Drew Brees. But he's against a top 5 defense and he's not playable. I would put him fourth on the playables for quarterbacks on the Sunday slate. I'd rather play Baker Mayfield before I played Tom Brady. Not because I don't think Tom could maybe do it, but this Saints defense is for real. And this Saints defense can shut down the Buccaneers. They've done it before. The Bucs scored 3 points against them. Marshawn Lattimore has shut down Mike Evans before. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it's in the realm of possibility. And I don't think I'd play Tom Brady at all. Like, unless I'm just saying I'm going to play all 4 quarterbacks and I'm going to play him. But it goes Mahomes, Breeze, Baker, then Brady for me. I don't want anything to do with the run game. I talked about that multiple times. Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, no thank you. No thank you. If Ronald Jones practiced all week, was a full go, I probably think different, but I don't believe in Leonard Fournette. I have never believed in Leonard Fournette, and I don't believe that Ronald Jones is actually going to play. All right, you got the 3 wide receivers. You got Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown. Again, very similar to last week. They're all kind of projecting the same. They're all kind of valued the same with their projected points versus their salaries. Antonio Brown's the cheapest of the 3 at 6,400. Chris Godwin is my favorite play. His ownership projections at 25%. Mike Evans is pushing 35%. So you're getting Chris Godwin at an ownership discount, and I like that a lot. Plus, I just said it, Mike Evans is facing Marshawn Lattimore. I'm not going to read you the stats of all the last couple of games they played against each other, but you can look it up. Look up box scores from Bucs Saints, and it's going to be hard to find any stats for Mike Evans. It happens. And now the Saints are in the dome at home. Marshawn Lattimore is going to just be feeling it. I think he could shut him down again. Evans has kind of been dealing with this injury. I'll probably end up with Antonio Brown the most just because he's the cheapest at 6,400. But Chris Godwin is my favorite play here. He's a little higher, 7,500. 25% play, though. I like that. I like that play. Anyone notice Tom abandoned Godwin after his last drop last week? Does that continue? I would tell you my response to that is that is within the realm of possibility. Tom's got this weird fetish with Antonio Brown. We know that. And Mike Evans is the touchdown guy. But I haven't seen anything but great things come out from Tom Brady about Chris Godwin. He said a lot of things throughout the whole season because they've had their issues. They've had a little bit of offness to their game, but he's never said a bad thing about Chris Godwin. And to me, I think that's a no. Like, I don't think that Tom forcibly avoids Chris Godwin. I could almost see him come out and say, hey, look, let's not get into that again. Let's hit you a couple times, 2, 3, 4 times in the first drive, hit his targets, get him there, get some confidence boost between the two. Look, they're only going to play one more game. That's all. And then Tom will ride off into the sunset a loser. All right, Gronk. He's going to be avoided a lot this week. He put up the air ball last week. Don't worry, I had him. You know that. Big old fat 0. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to play him. I don't think I'll have him at all. 5,600. He's less than 10% owned, so it'd be great. He'd be a great kind of flyer. He'll be a great leverage play, and he's got the ability to put up 2 touchdowns. He's got the ability to put up 2 touchdowns. Packers 27, Rams at 13. All right, now we're putting predictions in the chat. I like that. Who else has a prediction? You guys write up your predictions here while I give you my favorite Sunday lineup. Oh, let me give you the teasers here. We're teasing the total from 52 to 58, and we're going to hit the under. And we're teasing the Saints from -3 to +3. Also, if this Saints gets to -2.5, you know I'm going to smash it. I want that field goal at home. I love it. I might even hit him at 3 just to do it. All right, my favorite Sunday lineup Remember, I told you you can't get Hill, Kamara, Mahomes, and Kelsey in, so I don't. I got Mahomes with Kamara, lock. Bringing it back with Kareem Hunt in the Chiefs stack. I think maybe there's a little bit to the narrative against the old team. Whatever, you deserve to be cut. I'm not getting into that today. You and your stupid Instagram posts or TikTok posts, whatever the heck it was. Anyways, I'm stacking Demarcus Robinson and Travis Kelce with Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to bring it. I'm going to also bring it back with Donovan Peoples-Jones. So I'm going super cheap, right, with the Browns. But that allows me to take Mike Evans for the Bucs because I didn't have enough to get up to Chris Godwin. I'm taking the Bucs defense to be a little bit different here. And then Deontay Harris. And like I said, if Tre'Quan Smith does become active, what I can do is go down to Smith at 4,800, take Evans, and I can go up to Godwin, which I would like. And then I could potentially move the Bucs to the Saints defense, which I would like as well. Another move I can make here with having these three on the late game is I can take Evans and go down to Antonio Brown. I can take Harris and go up to Emmanuel Sanders. So I can play with that as well. So there's a lot of salaries I can still mess with here in the second game. I don't think I have enough of the second game with this lineup, and I might have to tweak it a little bit. I want more of this second game, I think. I want kind of do a Chiefs onslaught stack, and I want a little bit more of this Saints Bucs game. Ramsey on Adams will make that game interesting to me. Yeah, I don't know. Ramsey can't play all the guys, and Aaron Rodgers is a stud, MVP of the league. That's what I say. If you're still here with us, hit the like button. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to give you my favorite 4-game slate lineup here. Recap our teaser. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, hit the subscribe button. Please leave me a 5-star review if you would. I appreciate you listening in. And here's our favorite 4-game slate. So if you're going to play both Saturday, Sunday together, they've got a couple good tournaments on FanDuel. I got in one that's paying out the top 25%. Would you like to see that? It's 2,500 people, which isn't a bad number. 3,000 is kind of like my max. I don't want to go too much higher than that. But if you go too much lower, you're only getting about 17% payouts. They've got a lot of like 400 or 500 people. So I'm kind of sitting in this 2,000, 2,500 entry range, single entry tournament. And this is the lineup I put in there. Don't go in there and put the same lineup in, though, please. All right, my favorite 4-game slate lineup, Patrick Mahomes is still my favorite quarterback, even on the 4-game slate. In fact, his ownership is quite down. Not down, but like it's down with Lamar and Josh Allen, which I like that. So when you're playing all 4 games, Mahomes is a lot less owned. Aaron Jones at running back. I told you I didn't want anything to do with him on the Saturday slate at 92%. He's a lot less owned on the 4-game slate, and I like him there. And I'm going to secondary stack him with the Packers. Uh-oh. I'm going to secondary stack him with the Packers. Sorry about that. Then I'm going to go J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to stack Patrick Mahomes with Tyreek Hill. Plays for the last game of the whole 4-game slate in Tre'Quan Smith and Chris Godwin. Essentially, I'm fading the Ravens-Bills game except for the Dobbins. So in this lineup, I've got a Mahomes Hill stack, bringing it back with Higgins and Hooper, which I don't mind, but usually if I'm going to bring it back twice, I come Aaron Jones and the Packers as a secondary stack. I got a little skinny stack here at the last game with Smith and Godwin. Also an opportunity to switch it up to Sanders and Antonio Brown if I need to. If I'm in a position to win, I'll probably shift it to Sanders and Antonio Brown just to have a little bit more floor there. And then I have Dobbins as the one-off. So that's my 4-game slate lineup that I like this week. And let's recap this teaser. I want to thank our sponsors at Gunsmoke GSPS, sponsoring the Bets from the West. He helps me put together this teaser. You can follow their story on Facebook at Gunsmoke GSPS. You can also follow them on the gram. If you're on the Instagram, jump on there, follow them up. Let me see. Yeah, 3 games this year, hasn't had a TD. Devontae Adams, that's it? 3 games? Not bad. All right, we need to start wrapping it up here. 6-point teaser. Packers -1, Bills +3.5, Chiefs -4, Chiefs Browns under 63.5, Saints +3, Saints Bucks under 58. Well, welcome, Taylor. That's going to do it for us this week. I appreciate you all jumping in the chat. If you are on the YouTube live, go ahead and hit the like button one more time. If you haven't already, it just helps us. The more people that like the video, the more it circulates. I threw some hashtags in the descriptions, of course, but I just appreciate all of you being here, being with us live, hopefully having a good time. If you're on podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, thanks for listening. Please hit subscribe, 5-star review. Next week, we'll get back live Tuesday again. I liked that, recapping the podcast. And then we'll have a championship round preview late next week, Thursday or Friday. Follow all of our sponsors on Facebook, at SM Auto Detailing, at Homefront CG, at Gunsmoke GSPS, at Threads and more. Find me all over the social media. Follow me on Facebook at The Rumbles of Red. Subscribe on YouTube, The Rumbles of Red YouTube page. Follow me on Twitter at Trev's Fantasy Pod. I'm all over the Apple, Spotify, Google podcasts. Good luck this week. You're probably going to need to start texting each other instead of chatting each other. Let's go win some money this weekend. Good luck. Go Chiefs.